Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I love you. Appreciate you guys checking in. No, I'm just having fun. I'm not going to spend too much time. But I definitely do want to talk about a couple of things. One is the United States government has bipartisan support to ban TikTok. And while some people think this is a positive thing, there's a really weird and sinister angle going on. And part of it is that TikTok is, ironically, one of the best combatants against misinformation for a bunch of right-wing talking points. And it's been one of the places I've seen the most counterpoints for some of the propaganda that is coming out to support the illegal occupation in Palestine and the carnage and the ethnic cleansing in Gaza. So whether you like TikTok or not, I really don't care. I don't care what you think TikTok is because you've been told what TikTok is by other people, right? And it's not that I love TikTok. It's not that oh my God, I think it's the best thing in the world. No. But so far, you do realize that people have used TikTok to expose Joe Biden's lies about Gaza, right? You do realize that, right? It's the least censored app on here. Instagram is totally censored. There are people that are just incapable of seeing my lives now because I've been branded as a political page, right? So it's not a music page now, it's a political page. And that's the reason why we've had such a decline in the lives. We used to have I could snap my fingers and get 800, 900 people in here. But now we're stuck around like the original 300 because I think you guys are subscribed in and you get a notification if I go live. So what I've been trying to do is put the lives scheduled out. Right. Psy NYC. You always see it. Right? But a lot of people don't. Someone said, hey, how you doing? Yeah, we don't care. I'm not going to argue with people tonight. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend my time talking with people who actually like me and care about me. And that's what I've learned to do. I'm not going to argue with people that say ridiculous things in the comments to get attention. And I'm going to tell you guys why. You know why? For the same reason that if I was a parent, some of you are parents, you have children, and if your little kid threw an ice cream cone on the ground to get attention, you wouldn't buy him a new one. You'd say, hey man, I'm sorry you threw your ice cream on the ground. And I'm not going to buy you a new one until you learn to better your behavior. So when these people do fuck shit like that and they come on here talking crazy, I'm not going to entertain them. I'd rather entertain you. So the people that have positive things to say to me, or people that have honest questions, or even an honest criticism, I'm more than happy to talk to you. And I'll tell you that I have gotten a lot out of having conversations with people that are, maybe 80% aligned with what I believe and 20% not. And we have great conversations about that 20%. There's nothing wrong with having conversations with people that you don't agree with, as long as your disagreement isn't rooted in trying to take away somebody's humanity. Then we can have a conversation. But if you're trying to get my attention by insulting me and you think that that's going to get you ahead, no. Someone asked me, you were born in Peru. Do you speak Spanish? Claro que sí. Yo no me he olvidado de eso. ¿Cómo puedes pensar eso? Qué locuras. Imagínate. Did I watch the AJ and Francis Ngannou fight? Yeah, I told people that Anthony Joshua was going to win. I think that Anthony Joshua is the most disrespected heavyweight in the modern era. He lost a nasty fight against Andy Ruiz. And it's crazy. I was there in Madison Square Garden when he got knocked out. But here's the truth. Here's the truth that Anthony Joshua will never tell you. That he was concussed. He just won't say it, dude. I wish he would. I wish he would just come out and say, yeah, look, I got a concussion in sparring. I probably should have delayed the fight. But for whatever fucking reason, they didn't. It was his debut. They figured that Ruiz was not going to be as problematic as he was. And he decided to fight on the inside, right? And Andy Ruiz, they really underestimated him because he was a chubby little Mexican dude. But he hits like a truck, right? And everyone said that he probably got the better of Joseph Parker in the fight. Right. Do you support a movement for reparations even if I don't qualify? Let me clarify something. African-American people are not asking for reparations, brother. They're asking for the other half of reparations. One half of reparations was already paid to slave owners, to people that were people who legalized pedophilia and rape and murder. Those people were compensated. They had money given to them. They were given bonds, all kinds of things. This is a dark period of history, ladies and gentlemen, because we've never actually dealt with that. So then people say that individuals are ungrateful for having a conversation about the necessity to fix the problem ever since that Reconstruction was permanently disabled. Yeah. Let me see. You and Sick Jack and got anything in the works? Man, big shout out to Psycho Realm, Sick Jack, and they're all cool people. Are you not watching UFC 299? No, not right now. I mean, unless you got a link. Opus, I answered the question. I said that, of course, I supported reparations for the people who should have got them instead of compensating human traffickers. I don't know if you have bad reading comprehension or maybe I didn't make it clear enough, but the answer is yes. And do me a favor, don't ever accuse me of ducking a question again, or I'll throw you the fuck off here. Don't do that to me. Talk to me like an adult, and don't accuse me of lying or trying to get past anything, because there's nothing intellectually intimidating about anybody on this live to me. You can ask me anything as long as you ask me respectfully, brother. Then I will give you an answer. But if you keep poking me, then, you're not going to get nothing. You understand? God bless you. Go to stream. All right, whoa. Don't leak the stream. Just send it to me later on, okay? The best hip-hop concert I seen was you. Of course. Thank you. I appreciate that. Here we go. Brother, when it comes to Palestine, do you feel like boycotting big brands actually helps? Or is it all in vain? No, I think that's actually one of the best ways that you can foment change. These people are really nervous when you start boycotting their brands. And I'm going to be honest, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and I said that was the monumental failure of Black Lives Matter. That it was not a Pan-African organization, that they didn't say, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to boycott every product from France, not a fucking wheel of cheese, not a bottle of wine, nothing from you people until you let Haiti out of this predatory situation that we're in. And if African-American people had been able to mobilize for that. Now, here's where the corruption of the Democratic Party comes into play. And we'll get into how they're both corrupt, because believe me, I give them both their just due on this program. The Democratic Party was instrumental in co-opting the Black Lives Matter movement. Co-option. What do you think about what that word actually means? Co-option. It means when you start a movement and I pretend to be down with your movement, right? And then I try to take over your movement. Yeah, that's co-option. That's what the Democratic Party did to the Black Lives Matter movement. When really it should have been a Pan-African movement that was able to reach out and say, well, why is it that Ghana and these countries are being manipulated by candy companies in Europe? How come they're being extorted for the cacao that people make chocolate out of? Why? And I think that at that particular point, there would have been a lot more of a greater understanding of how activism actually works to cripple a society that is built off lies and cheating people. In the same way, if there was ever a Latino Lives movement or people got together in that way, we could definitively say, no, we don't like the way you address us as illegals. Or there's even a lady who was in Texas who's running for office openly in the Republican Party calling people wetbacks. And of course, you know, if you go to any of these like right-wing websites for Latinos, they don't care. You can call them anything. They'll say, oh, they're not talking about me. That's why those people are sellouts and cowards to me. Right. Someone mentioned that Trump had passed anti-BDS legislation. Yeah, for the people that like Trump, they're mad at that because those people are just bitter, jealous, and right. They're right. He did. He did that fuck shit. There you go. I think that by and large, what's disgusting to me is the amount of dehumanizing for people. And when we talk about immigration, we're leaving one big part out, right? That, and this is just crazy, I have to keep saying that, if you want people to stop coming here, then stop overthrowing their countries, right? Now, it's easy for people to blame other individuals. But the truth is that if Trump and Bush and Obama all overthrew or helped to cripple the economy, the political structure, and the regime in Venezuela, then how are you surprised when people show up, right? We have 800,000 Venezuelan immigrants in this country now. In my country, in Peru, my first country I was born in, do you know that we have over 1 million Venezuelan immigrants? Way more than here. They have been incorporated into the workforce. But here's my problem. If you're mad at these people, stop overthrowing their countries, and then people won't be coming here. Does that not connect? I'm sorry, I know some of you lean to the right on immigration. You say to me, oh, I agree with you on everything else, technique, but I don't know about immigration. Close the border. Hey, man, if I came into your fucking house and I shot the place up and you don't have a fucking place to live anymore, and you show up on my front door because I knocked over your house, how the fuck am I supposed to blame you? right? We're mad at Afghan immigrants, the audacity of Europeans to be angry at Afghan immigrants. Like, I'm very sorry that anybody was killed by a person who happens to be a migrant, yet they obey the law at a much higher rate and kill people at a much lower rate than regular citizens. But let's have a conversation about Afghanistan. 300,000 people dead. Isn't that crazy? Let's talk about Iraq, right? We're all going crazy right now because we live in an era where social media is different, way different than it was, let's say, 20 years ago. It's way more advanced, right? So we're affected and horrified at seeing 30,000 people dead in Gaza, over 13,000 children. But if social media existed, let's say 20 years ago, the way it exists now, we would be forced to look at all of these Iraqi children that have been run over by tanks, people that have been killed, people that have been blown up in Afghanistan. Instead, we were fed lies about what the fuck was going on. You know what they used to tell us? There was a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. I asked my friends in the Marines, I said, yo, man, I keep hearing about these helicopter crashes. He said, yeah, people are shooting them down. What the fuck? You think, like, we're fighting a war here, and I don't think we can win. It's not because we're weak. It's just you got to nuke these people, and we can't do that. These people won't give up. And then you start looking at the history of Afghanistan, and you realize, hey, man, this place has been invaded like 1,000 times by so many different people. And guess what? They all got the fuck out, right? They all got kicked the fuck out. Hey, you know how stubborn the British are? They came there 3 times. And 3 times in Afghanistan, they got their asses kicked, right? 3 times they got their asses kicked. The Americans were there. The Russians were there. Everybody got thrown the fuck out. And you're mad because those people showed up after you destabilized their country and turned it into a fucking war zone. And when I say a war zone, people say, oh, Afghanistan was always a war zone. Really? You ever seen it in the 70s? You ever seen a picture of Afghanistan in the 70s? Right? You'll see people with bell bottoms, mini skirts, doobies, long hair. Anyway, I just wanted to say that it's necessary to talk about these things. How would your ideal world look like? A lot less billionaire money in politics. Ryan's ghost said it best. Don't be mad at the people. Be mad at your government for overthrowing them. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Listen, I went to Afghanistan in 2009. You know what I saw there? I saw United States Marines guarding poppy fields. Poppy fields. Like the fucking Wizard of Oz. What they make heroin out of. That's what we were doing there? Disgusting. Someone asked, where do you get your news? I think I get it from a lot of different sources. I wouldn't say just one place. Like, sure, sometimes you want to hear what the fuck Fox is ranting about because you know that they're a total propaganda machine. Same thing with MSNBC. Right, MSNBC that was pushing a war in Syria. Do you remember that one? During the Obama administration? With Melissa Harris Perry. She got on there and she was talking about how great it would be if we could get behind kicking Assad out and killing all these people. Now, I'm not saying Assad is a perfect leader. I know a lot of people who are Syrian who are either pro or against him. But let's keep it 1,000. 250,000 people dead? You didn't get what you wanted, right? Free Syrian Army, which is a CIA plant. You didn't get what you want. You didn't liberate the country. You know what happened? You got paid by the CIA to try to overthrow a fucking country, bro. And then what happened? You had to use splinter cells of Al-Qaeda and ISIS to fight against Assad. Al-Qaeda, weren't these the people that crashed into the Twin Towers? Do you think that people's memories are that short? Amina asked about resistance and how long it would take. I think there's an old saying that in order for the empire to win, they will have to wipe out all the rebels. But in order for the rebels to win, they just have to survive. Right? Also, remember something for the people that are listening here. The best revenge is a good life. Yeah. Someone said, can you embellish on comparing the Vietnam War to the Afghan War? Well, I think here's an interesting thing about the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was special because it was one of those instances in which people walked into the Vietnam War completely believing their country, right? When people went to war in Germany or in the Pacific for World War II, they believed in what they were doing. There was no question about what was going on. They said, yeah, we got to fight the Nazis. The Japanese are inhuman people. They're murderers. They were doing terrible things at that time. I'm not saying they're bad people now. I'm just saying that the Japanese army was committing atrocities on a regular basis, right? Now, ironically, they're our biggest partner against China. It's funny. But I think that it's necessary to point out that people believed in that mission. War in Korea, right? People believed in the war in Korea. They thought, hey, you know what's going to happen? The communists are going to take over Korea, and it's going to ruin everything. So we went to that war, and we didn't fight against Koreans. We only fought against Koreans for like the first year. Then we ended up having a war with China, like a proxy, not even a proxy war, like a full-on war with Chinese troops versus American troops. And it got to the point where so many people died that they felt the only solution was a potential nuclear strike on China. So at some point, wiser individuals prevailed and a ceasefire was called. And that's where we get the split between North Korea and South Korea. After this, we had an incident called the Gulf of Tonkin incident. For the people that want to look it up, the Gulf of Tonkin, Tonkin, right? The Gulf of Tonkin incident was when an American ship was allegedly destroyed by the North Vietnamese. Now, as a response to this, we ramped up what was eventually going to become the largest quote-unquote policing action. Because even though it wasn't considered officially a war, and there were atrocities happening, the United States wouldn't call it a war. And for that, I think a lot of people left Vietnam completely disillusioned about the United States. In other words, at the height of the Vietnam War, there were 500-600 troops that were dying every week. So in 2 months, more people died in Vietnam than died in the whole war in Iraq. However, this is because specifically of the medical advancements that we've made in the past 30 years since Vietnam, 40 years since Vietnam, and then the wars that happened in the Middle East came about. And people who would normally have died were kept alive by whatever means. Thank you. What do you think about sending the U.S. troops to Gaza for a temporary port? I think what's ironic is that the temporary port is going to be built close to where the natural gas deposits are off the coast of Gaza. Now, let me ask you guys something. Do you think that's a coincidence? The people that are watching this show, do you think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden We're setting up a port, right, on the shore of Gaza. That's right near where there's almost $1 trillion worth of natural gas. That's not a mistake. That's not an error, right? There are no coincidences. You know, like if I squash beef with somebody and we cool, right? That motherfucker better hope I don't get hit by a car or randomly shot by a police officer or by a gang member, right? As a matter of fact, them motherfuckers better hope I don't get hit by a bolt of lightning, because otherwise, I'm going to blame some of the people in that room. And that I will not forgive. Thank you very much. There you go, Ginger. There you go. Grandpa in my pocket. I'm not American, but I love your music. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. If you have the link, put it in the DM for me. And I'll watch the fight with you. Yeah. I'll take a couple of more questions and then I'll get out of here. Is democracy compatible with capitalism? I mean, it's glued together with capitalism now. But throughout most of America's history, capitalism and democracy have actually been on opposite sides of each other. Right. Okay, this is now 7 people asking me about Ryan Garcia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want me to talk about Ryan Garcia? Let's have that conversation. So for the people who don't know, a young amateur boxing champion who then became a social media sensation, but that shouldn't take away from the fact that he is a multiple-time amateur boxing champion, and you know the only loss that he's taken so far was to Tank Davis, was that he got on a stream and he said that he saw little children being sexually assaulted. Then when he was pressed by people about where he saw this, he said that they took him to the woods when he was a child and they tied him up and they made him watch. And I think that it was disturbing for me to hear someone talk like that with a slurred voice, admitting to smoking weed and drinking liquor during camp when you have the biggest fight of your life coming up. Now, I know some of you think that Devin Haney lost to Lomachenko, but he hit him with a lot of body shots and he put punishment on Lomachenko. And I think the fight was close. Now, I probably would give the edge to Loma, but whatever. Devin Haney's not a slouch. And ever since he left 135, he's a lot stronger at 140. I don't think this fight should happen, bro. Unless Ryan is completely trolling, because it's not like what he's saying is false, right? Sure, there are secret societies. How about this? You want to talk about a human sacrifice? What's going on in Gaza? 13,000 children have been sacrificed. I'm going to say that again. What's going on in Gaza? 13,000 children have been sacrificed. So while he may have said things that are outlandish, according to you, he's not wrong by saying that there are sacrifices going on still in the world. And he even said, hey, and here's something I could appreciate from Ryan Garcia. And we'll get into the Congo. Thank you very much, real chap. We'll get into the Congo after this. Here's something I can appreciate. Ryan Garcia said, hey, I'm sorry I'm late on Gaza. I see these little kids being killed. And he said, I'm sorry I didn't speak up earlier. And there are so many people I know that are afraid to say anything about what's going on in Gaza. They're terrified because of their job. They're afraid they're going to lose opportunities. But what I explain to these people is, you don't seem to understand. In the future, people are going to look back at this and say, hey, why didn't you say anything? And when you give them the same bullshit response that you've been giving me behind closed doors, they're going to rip you a new asshole. And do me a favor, don't use my name for leverage, right? You made your bed, motherfucker, sit in it. But when someone says, hey, I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner, I was wrong, I can appreciate that. And I don't have anything fucked up to say about Ryan Garcia. I think a lot of people are shitting on him. I think that's unfortunate. He's obviously going through something. Sure, the things that he said about the Vatican seemed outlandish to people, but hold on. The Pope, Cardinal Ratzinger, who became Pope Benedict, the reason that he was in that high position is because he was moving priests around. He was the guy. He resigned the papacy in disgrace. Let me remind people. Pope Benedict resigned the papacy in disgrace because he was found to have been moving priests around so that they wouldn't face prosecution for sexual assault. But yeah, when you hear a little kid talking about, I realize what time travel is, and yeah, okay, dude, now you're going through a mental health crisis. So two things can be right at the same time. He could be saying some things that are actually true and speaking about, let's say, the tip of the iceberg of what's going on without having a clear understanding of the entire picture. And he also may be going through an episode, man. So I don't want to judge that kid. God bless him. God bless his family. You know, he seemed like good people. I hope that he gets in shape for the fight. You know. Let's talk about the Congo. One interesting thing that's been brought up is that Israel's primary export is diamonds. And there are 0 diamond mines in Israel. So therefore, where are they getting the diamonds from? Africa. The Congo is experiencing what can be also described as a genocide. It's not just an uptick of violence. We're talking about rampant violence. And also the fact that now, a court in the United States, and I appreciate the person who asked me to bring this up, a court in the United States has ruled that American companies are not responsible for the slave labor subsidiaries that they use, that use child labor in the Congo. So, of course, I didn't expect them to do anything. They're not going to make their people pay taxes for that, right? They want to let them exploit the land as much as they can because the politicians get a kickback for allowing that. Yeah, that's disgusting to me. When I saw what was happening in the Congo, I was heartbroken because not enough people are talking about that. Let me see, 10-minute later records. Yes, thank you, sir. 10-minute. It was about cobalt. The cobalt mining industry especially is harmful. Those are the things that people make computers, computer chips out of, your iPhone. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And I think that, like I said, that's the other misuse of the BLM movement. Imagine if the Black Lives Matter movement was a Pan-African movement and they had gone after what was going on in the Congo. People would have been outraged, right? As angry as black people in this country were at white police officers shooting them with impunity. You know how angry they would have been if you had said, wait a minute, look at these little African children that are tied together with a fucking string, with fish wire on their feet, and forced to go into a fucking hole. And their life expectancy is like 17 years old. And they're forced to dig out these fucking materials. This is disgusting. That's what it should have been used for. Canelo versus Munguia. Why not Benavidez? We know why not Benavidez. Styles make fights. Benavidez, to me, is like a better version of Bivol. Right? The better version of Bivol. As a matter of fact, he used to be Bivol's and Gennady Golovkin's sparring partner. Yeah. You didn't know that? David Benavidez used to be Gennady Golovkin, Triple G's sparring partner when he was 16 years old. Obviously, Triple G ain't go that hard on him. But he said that he would punish him when he made mistakes. So imagine that, right? And then on top of it, he was Bivol's sparring partner coming up. And they said he used to give Bivol the business. So if Bivol definitively beat Canelo, and don't forget, Canelo was in denial when he first got his ass whipped. He was like, no, that didn't happen. It happened, bro. Right? It happened. Beterbiev versus Bivol. I think that Beterbiev is just too much. Too much. Tony Stones, we talked about TikTok in the very beginning of this. I'll post this live so you guys can go watch it later. Yeah. We talked about the port. Thank you. Would you ever consider doing a song with a mainstream artist? I wouldn't say no, but it would have to be the right mainstream artist, right? It couldn't just be any random Yahoo. It would have to be a person that really cared about the subject matter they were talking about. This is grape and cranberry juice. I don't drink liquor anymore. Grape cranberry juice, ladies and gentlemen. I am off liquor. Now, will I have a beer every once in a blue moon? Yeah, like maybe once every month or two? Sure. But I refuse to drink the way I used to. And I'm going to tell people that when I was a kid, I was a teenage alcoholic. This is a true story, ladies and gentlemen. I used to get a Snapple bottle, right? And I used to drink the Snapple bottle down to here. And I would fill the rest with Bacardi Limon. And I would just go to school like that sometimes. Yeah. You have no idea how many fights I've had because something was misinterpreted as a kid. And I realized how much damage that did to me. And later on in life, I was just like, I do a lot better without drinking like that. Yeah. Well, also, I would get into fights over nothing sometimes, I'm sitting there at a bar and somebody says something to me I don't like. And before you know it, they were knocked out and I was leaving out the back door. And I got tired of living like that. Someone wrote, did you have to go to rehab? Well, I'm being very personal about myself. So when I got out of prison, I was sent to do the last month of my year in a halfway house. And as part of the halfway house program, they used to make NA and AA mandatory. So you had to sit there and listen to other people's problems. Right? And I always tell people that there was a guy who was smoking crack in the program. And they asked him, what happened? What led you here? And he broke down. He said that he was high on crack and he was drinking heavily. He was drinking a fifth of vodka every day or so. And he said that he broke into a house and that he was stealing a TV and an old lady came out. And he said that she was like, what are you doing? And so he turned around and punched her in the face. He admitted to being, listen, he's telling a room of strangers this, and I'm a little kid watching this. And he's telling a room of strangers, yo, I was high off crack, and I punched an old lady and broke her jaw. And I ran out of the house with the TV and sold it for $50 so I could get more crack. And the next day, he was arrested. And he found out that the woman that he had punched in the face was his mother. Now, if you're going to ask me, did this influence me in any way, shape, or form to make Dance of the Devil? I don't know. Maybe it was a factor in me changing the first person account of what actually happened then. But I think, life is going to influence you in so many different ways. And my life experiences obviously were going to have an effect on how I saw the world. So it's very sad when you think about it, that somebody was so high on crack and so fucked up off liquor that they beat up their own mother. And I'm going to tell you some really fucked up shit. It's like therapy, which later on that night, the dude that I just told you about in the program, he tried to hang himself. And the alarm went off in the halfway house. So because I lived in the half of the halfway house that was for prisoners, if there was ever an incident in that half of the halfway house, there would be an alarm that went off, woo, 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 woo. I'm going to remember that sound for the rest of my fucking life, dude. So in the middle of the night, I wake up, woo, 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 woo. What the fuck is going on? Did somebody, I thought motherfuckers escaped. That's the shit they play when people leave the program. And we found out, they were like, what happened? They were like, yo, dude tried to kill himself. And I said, Jesus Christ. What the fuck? I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. Anyway, man, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of war stories tonight. I just wanted to share some ideas with you. I was going to go on Twitter, but now I think I'm going to go live on TikTok. So if you find me, Tech Immortal on TikTok, I'll be on there live after this. Oh, we spoke about Haiti, man. We spoke about Haiti, about the United States destabilizing Haiti, and how, in my opinion, it would have been great to see the Black Lives Matter movement not be co-opted by corrupt Democrats, and see a sense of unity between African Americans demanding that people in Haiti not be extorted by the French government. So people that don't know, Haiti still has to kick up to the French government. Reparations for reparations to the French government for liberating slaves, enslaved people. You still got to pay for that. And imagine if Black Americans said, hey, you know what? Not a wheel of cheese, not a cup of wine, right? Not a fucking croissant from you people. Nothing. And as a matter of fact, since African American people are so trend-setting in this shit, nothing from France will rock. You will lose so much fucking money that you better take your fucking hands off Haiti. But instead, we got a bunch of fucking murals and a bunch of fake Democrats kneeling in kente cloths that they don't even understand the fucking significance of. Right? You rocking some shit you don't even know what the fuck it means. Ugh. Somebody said wine and cheese boycott. How about this? How about the French bank boycott? How about that? Right? How about we take all our bonds out? How come everybody de-invest from your shitty fucking country, you asshole? And then they'll be like, oh, okay. That's what they fear. You know why? Because if you take away their money, then the government has to provide subsidies for them. And you know what that means? That exposes the fact that they don't really run off taxes. They just print money. They're all frauds. I saw someone say the CIA made hip-hop. No. The CIA didn't make hip-hop. But people did co-opt hip-hop, right? People have always wanted a laughing, smiling goofball. Let me get your money. Let's get this money. Shit like that. They don't want an intelligent brother, right? They don't want an intelligent African person, indigenous person. They don't want an intelligent person that represents poor, white class working people. You got a glimpse of that with Eminem. Because he came from a working class background. Right? The realest thing about the fucking movie 8 Mile, and it's like, oh my God, Oscar, that was a decent movie. But the best thing about that fucking movie is that he goes home with nothing. That was the realest shit. I was like, oh, these battles are cool. Like, it's a fun movie to watch. But the realest shit is when he went home with fucking nothing. I was impressed. I was like, oh, wow, that's a real ending. Because that's how I used to go home. With a few $100s in my pocket, like, what the fuck am I going to do? How am I going to make rent next week? Shit. All right, I got to figure this shit out, dude. Yeah. Someone said, is Drake hip-hop? Yeah. He's hip-hop. Why wouldn't he be? Hold on. Now, I said this in another live. If you don't think Drake is hip-hop because someone else wrote his rhymes, I got some really bad news about some of your favorite rappers, motherfucker. Okay? Now, not me, because no one's wrote a fucking bar for me ever. Or maybe I traded a bar with a person once or twice. But people don't get in the studio and write verses for me, bro. Okay? And there are people that I know that are great MCs that people think are great rappers. And let me keep it 1,000, bro. I know they're ghostwriters. I'm not going to shout these people out. They're great icons of the game. They, you know what I mean? Famous 90s rappers. But if you're going to tell me that Drake is not hip-hop because somebody else wrote his rhymes, then so are the people who were golden age era rappers who didn't write their own rhymes either. That's all. That's it. You know? That's it. You don't have to rip a person or give them props. You could just say what it is. Someone wrote, I jerk off inside books and give life to words. Yeah, that was me, man. Have I ever written music for another artist? Yes, and I will never say which one, but thank you. I appreciate that. You can be pop and hip-hop too. You could be country and hip-hop too, right? I know a lot of country motherfuckers that make hip-hop. Don't do that. Hip-hop don't have a region, man. I know motherfuckers in Germany making hip-hop. I know people in Ireland making hip-hop, bro. There are people in California, in Russia, in Africa making hip-hop. So don't do that. Someone wrote, write for me, bro. You're a comedian. All right, I'll take a couple of more questions, and I got to get out of here. Livy asked, what do you think about J. Cole? Talented brother. Great MC. When am I coming to Canada? Okay. I'm going to tell this story one last time, and then I'm not going to tell it again. I was set to go to Canada this year. I was supposed to have a show in Canada this year for my birthday. Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and Nova Scotia. 7 shows. 7 shows were ready to go. And at the last minute, these people wanted to do 7 shows in like 8 days. And they refused to get me a visa that was longer. Because by their stupid logic, these people thought, oh, okay, if we give him a visa for 2 years, he'll come back with someone else. Well, yeah. If you don't pay me a good price next time and you try to lowball me, I'll come back with someone else. And so they said, okay, then we had an issue over the tickets. I said, well, look, I feel like I'm being lowballed because you have 3 other promoters here, and you're as a promoter are selling to a sub promoter who's selling to another sub promoter. So there are too many hands in the pot, so to speak. And these people told me, okay, we'll give you an extra $1,500 per show. I said, okay. But then they raised the ticket price $10 at a 1,200 capacity room. Mind you, this is all facts, ladies and gentlemen. All facts. Let's do the math. A $10 raise on a 1,200 cap room ticket is $12,000. So you're getting an extra $12,000 and you're going to give me $1,500? Are you fucking stupid? Do you people think I was born? I mean, I was born on a day, but it wasn't yesterday, right? So that really made me mad. And I said, listen, I'm sorry if you think I'm some ignorant fool, but, you know, I was really good at math as a kid, and this is not right. So now, if I do a show in Canada, I'm going to do one myself. I'll rent out the venue. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to pay for the visa. I'm going to do one show in Toronto, a big fucking show. I'll do like a 2,000 cap room. And everyone from Canada that wants to see me is going to have to come to see that one show in Toronto. So unfortunately, I won't be able to go to all those other places, but I'll do one big show in Toronto, and it'll be like, hopefully like a 2,000 cap venue. And I'm looking forward to doing it. And that way, I'll teach all of these stupid fucking promoters up there a lesson, right? If you want to do business with me now, you have to pay me 70% of what I was getting by fronting all the money myself. And that means that you have to pay me double. And I don't want to see you do well anymore, motherfucker. So I want to see what you get out of your end now. This is what happens when you fuck with me. I'm telling you the truth. This is what happened in England. I used to get promoters that come, oh, bruv, we got 10,000 for you, bruv. But listen, but you have to take this man and he got to be your opening act. And I'm like, no, I don't. Nigga, get the fuck out of my face. I don't have to do anything you said. Plus $10,000 is short money. I'm going to rent out the venue myself, right? I charge 20 pounds at the door. There's 1,000 people there. Plus the primetime tickets. We working off 25,000 pounds, which at the time was like damn near $35,000. So why the fuck would I take 10 from you? Who the fuck are you? London broil, old, dirty, rotten beef patty ass nigga. Get the fuck out my face, bro. Don't treat me like that. Don't do that to me. Plus they was trying to touch the merch money. Listen, let me go back to something. Don't ever touch my merch money, okay? Don't you ever in your fucking life. Listen, hold on. Y'all laughing. Y'all niggas is laughing. But I'm being honest. Don't you ever put your fucking hands on my t-shirt money, bitch. All right? You didn't print a shirt, okay? You didn't press a CD. You did nothing. You didn't even get a motherfucker to sit there and sell it for me. If it was your people selling it, fuck it. I would give them 5%, maybe 10 if they had 2 people there. But you know what I'm not doing? I'm not giving you 30%. Bruv. You don't get 30%, slime. It's like I gave these people work. I put this shit together from the fucking dirt. Now you want a piece of merch like you made a shirt. 30% like I gave you motherfuckers work. But I refuse to pay taxes like a fucking church. Little passage bars, huh? No, you don't get no more. No more. Nah, that's it. That's it. Yo, I got the whole thing right here. Right here. Oh, man. Oh, before we get out of here, somebody wanted a book recommendation, right? They wanted to hit me up about a book recommendation. So this is this week's book recommendation. It's called Gideon's Spies, The Secret History of the Mossad. Check it out when you have the time. Gordon Thomas is the author. Gideon's Spies. Thoughts about Chris refusing to perform at the Grammys. KRS-One is standing up for integrity. And I support him in that. We may not agree about everything, but I support him in that. Thoughts on the commercialization of ayahuasca. Well, first of all, free Alex Enamorado and free Jaguar and free the Justice 8. I think it's sad that they're threatening them with deportation in 10 years just for sticking up for street vendors and also for exposing how corrupt the police department and the mayor's office is out there. So big shout out to them. All right, let me see. Open Veins of Latin America. That's a good book too. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. If you want to send me that UFC link, send it to me via DM, and I'll watch the fight with you. All right? I'm going to be on TikTok in about 5 minutes. So I appreciate you guys. Lastly, shout out where you're from. And I'll give where you're from a shout out, okay? Let me know where you're from, and I'm going to shout you out. The TikTok is Tech Immortal. Tech Immortal. No, it was a song. I didn't actually violate Will's mom. Fucking dummy. Shout out to Los Angeles. Star Mars, love you, mama. Texas, Ozzy Limon. Toronto, Lee Ski. Kurdistan, DJ Marcus and T-Dot. Oakland, California is in the building. Salem, Oregon. Holy fuck. How come I don't support Trump? Because I didn't fall down a right-wing rabbit hole like you poor bastard. Don't be mad because I didn't move to the right with you. I'm not here supporting Biden, you fucking moron. I just know they're both trash. Shout to Maine. Shout to Washington State. Shout to Chicago. Ontario, Canada. Ooh. Rochester, New York, Australia, Virginia, Boogie Down Bronx, Philadelphia, Ox City, Van Nuys in the building, Afghanistan, Jersey City, Ohio, DC, Sydney, Australia, where you at? Earlier you said Twitch. Did you mean TikTok? Yeah, I'm sorry. TikTok. I'll be on TikTok in about 5-10 minutes. Spokane, Washington, Sudan, and Las Vegas, and Elizabeth, New Jersey. We out of here. Peace.